confess something to you guys? I can. Cool. Okay, so on the day that I am filming this, it is April 21st. And I don't want to say that I fell into a reading slump, because I didn't. I'm not in a reading slump. I want to read. But what I did do was pick up a full-time job and have really not been managing my time well doing that. And then also my part-time job, and then my business. And then on top of that, content. And let's just say that none of those parts of my life are going great right now. So this is my apology, and this is also why we haven't wrapped up April's reading when it's like April 21st. It's a little insane to me. Or not April's reading, March's reading. Duh. How can I wrap up April's reading if we're not? Never mind. Nonetheless, my poor time management and speaking skills aside, we are here to wrap up my March reading today. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so apparently you just need to bear with me today as I speak. But March reading, it was sad. I only read 5 books. It was really sad. For the month of March, I did make myself a TBR. It was a TBR that consisted of 5 books, and I only read one of them off of said TBR. Though to be fair, that book was like 699 pages or something stupid. So it's gotta count for something, right? Because I still did read 2,220 pages, which is really weird that it's all 2s. But also that's like, I think about average of the pages that I read in February. And I didn't have January's, so I'm doing good still, I hope, I don't know. And then finally, I got a 2.7 average rating for the 5 books that I read this month, which honestly is not terrible. That's almost a 3. I don't know, honestly, there's not a lot for me to say about these 5 books until we start talking about them. So let's dive into talking about the first book of my March reading, which was Leather and Lark by Brynne Weaver. Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver is the book that single-handedly pulled me out of my reading slump back in December of 2025 that got me back into reading. Because of that, I waited so long to read this again because I just thought that I would love it and it would be fantastic and show-stopping. And honestly, it was a little bit disappointing. I still really liked this book, but it didn't give me everything that I wanted. Seeing as it's already April 21st and I read this in the beginning of March, I don't really remember a whole lot of the plot, which I think says a lot about the book itself. I know it's like a fake marriage scenario, which I think this was the first fake marriage romance I've ever read, and it actually wasn't all that bad as far as like a fake marriage goes. Lark is our female main character and Lachlan is our main male character. Lark is a little bit infuriating to me in the fact that she did not try to put anything into their relationship, whether or not it was fake. Like, she wasn't trying for a really long time, and that peeved me. And then there's Lachlan, who I think is genuinely one of the kindest main male characters I've seen in a while, where he's just bending over backwards to try to make things right with Lark and have at least a friendship while they're in this fake marriage scenario, which benefits both of them, you know? So honestly, it was kind of just there for me. I don't know. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. It wasn't my favorite, honestly. Lachlan really does deserve better, and Lark kind of needed to be a little bit nicer, which we did get at the end of the book, and I'm glad. But I wish it didn't take, 350 pages? We could have done that earlier. Next up, we have One by One by Frida McFadden, and I don't even want to spend more than 5 minutes talking about this, which I didn't spend 5 minutes talking about Leather and Lark, so I hope to God I won't spend more than 5 minutes talking about this. But I didn't like it, okay? I didn't like it. Continued to keep reading Frida McFadden books thinking, oh my gosh, there has to be at least one out there that I'm going to like and is going to be good. Or at least okay, decent. Not terrible, but good. There. One that I'll like. No, I don't like it. I don't like One by One. All of these characters infuriated me. None of them were nice. None of them were even decent freaking people. I hated them all. Loki kind of hoped they would all have died. It was upsetting. I didn't like it. I think I gave it like 1.5. Maybe 2. Maybe I was feeling generous. I really don't know, and I really don't care. I just didn't like it. I really didn't like it. But will I pick up another Frida McFadden book? Probably. Probably, because I want to understand why people like it so much. I don't understand why people like it so much. I don't think there's been a singular Frida McFadden book that I have guessed incorrectly. I will probably read every single book she's ever written, though, to see if there's at least one good one in there. But that's gonna take me a while, so for now, let's move on. The next book that we have is A Court of Winds and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. No. My cat has this thing where he eats my books, and I think that he got to this one while I had it sitting in my room. Little evil gremlin. Yeah, he totally tried to eat it. God damn it, Aslan. My cat's shenanigans aside, this is my 600 and 99-page book that I read this month. And honestly, most of this feels like filler information. I don't think there was anything necessarily wrong with the pacing of this book because I can't think of anything in here that we didn't need to know. It was all important. It's about war. We need to know things, right? But I genuinely feel like this is not even going to be the climax point in the series. I feel like there's still more that's going to happen. I know that there was a climax point in this book of where we actually went off to war and fought the war and did all of the things, but that was predictable. We knew that was going to happen. There has to be a different climax point in a different book for the series because there's no way that this is it. There's no way. Everything wrapped up way too well. We could totally just end the series here. But then there's the Court of Silver Flames. And there's that little novella. And apparently 2 more books coming out later this year. I don't know. Like, I am just so suspicious. I'm just so suspicious. All that to say, I think that I enjoyed ACOWAR like 85% of the time. I read the whole thing in I think like 5 or 6 days, which for me is absolutely batshit crazy, which I did do before I got my full-time job, by the way, but still, I don't feel this overwhelming need to go pick up A Court of Silver Flames or the novella that comes before it. I don't feel the pull. I don't feel the need yet. So I don't know. Maybe I'm disappointed. The characters were fine. The friendships were fine. Everything that happened was fine. It wrapped up too nicely. Nobody super important died. I'm suspicious. I don't think that I wasted my time, but I do think that reading ACOWAR after Leather and Lark, which was a little bit disappointing, and One by One, which was very disappointing, kind of put me in this whole mood of like, I need to not read for a little bit, which is probably why I picked up Zodiac Academy Ruthless Fae afterwards. Zodiac Academy is what I am calling my current like entertainment read. I am reading it simply for the entertainment factor, nothing to do with like how good the writing and the plot is. No, it's literally essentially for just teenage drama, which is all these books are, is not needless, but very much endless teenage drama. I will say, now that I have finished this and have sat on it for probably about a month, I cannot differentiate what happened between this. Oh, no, I can. No, I can tell you what happened in this book versus the first one, but it all kind of blends together because it's all within like the same week of each other, I think. The timeline for this series is very, very slow, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but just like we are going through the nitty-gritty. I think that we've talked about this before. Maybe we talked about it in the vlog where we read this together, but nonetheless, I did read Ruthless Fae. There was nothing wrong with it. I think that the plot was actually more fleshed out than the first one, and we got a little bit more like behind the scenes, I guess, of what different characters were thinking. The first book is only told in 2 perspectives, and I believe that we get 7 different perspectives in this book. Nonetheless, I enjoyed it. I'll be continuing on in the series. I gotta know what happens, even if it's just teenage drama. And then last, but definitely not least, we have Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I picked this up because I heard that it was like absolutely insane because people were bringing this book to school and having their peers read it, which first of all, really weird. After I've read this book, I have a feeling I know what like seeds they were sharing, and I don't think, well, duh, not school appropriate, but like also not as crazy as I thought it was gonna be. But then again, I never know how to just see someone's opinion on the internet and mind my own freaking business. I always have to read it and find out because I can never just form a thought without reading the book. And I needed to read it. I don't know. I think the funny thing is that compared to like what I read in the dark romance category, I thought this was dark romance. I wouldn't even classify this as dark romance, okay? I don't think it is. No, it's a contemporary, but like, I don't know why I thought it was a dark romance. I also thought it was about like paintball guns going into it, because look at this cover. It's not about paintball guns, by the way. But I think this is one of those cases where I really should have just mind my business, because I don't think that I was the target audience for this book. I don't hate the characters in here. I think this is a great like teenage love romance story, but I think that it's made for teenagers in mind. Or maybe like young adults, and maybe I'm too like brain heavy to be reading books like this. I don't know, but I didn't vibe with it. It's only 300 pages, 350 pages. Like, it's nothing insane, nothing crazy. I didn't like waste time on this. I would have read it anyways. But I cannot get over the fact that we would not have this entire book if the 2 characters would literally have just had a conversation. We could have had a totally different book if these 2 would have just sat and talked to each other honestly for 10 minutes. But no, neither of them know how to tell the truth or speak about their feelings or anything involving that. And it was really frustrating. It was really frustrating, and that was my main problem with this book. My biggest like book ick is definitely the miscommunication trope, because literally you could do anything else but the miscommunication trope. Just communicate, especially if it's gonna be about the whole book. I wouldn't have picked it up. I really wouldn't have. But I don't read backs of books. I don't know how to buy my business. And that's that's that. That's definitely that. Nonetheless, these are the 5 books that I read in the month of March. I definitely feel like we wrapped this up very quickly, but I really don't have a lot to say about any of these. I didn't really like it, okay? Like, I didn't love it. Honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I'm surprised that 2.7 is my average. I wonder what book I rated highly. I don't remember any of the ratings for any of these, by the way. Which I feel like is something I should probably remember seeing as I rate them as like a job. This isn't a job. This is a hobby. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I should be paying more attention. Nonetheless, those are all the books that I read in March. I truly and genuinely hope that your March reading went a whole lot better than mine did. And I hope that your April reading is going way better as well. Okay. It's funny, but it's not funny. I just want to sit and read a book. So. But with that, I hope that your book worlds are treating you just as well, if not better than mine are treating me. Let's do better. You probably want better. I think I already said that. Y'all stay safe, happy, healthy, and all the wonderful, amazing things until then, and I cannot wait to see you on that Wednesday. Until our next book adventure,